to broadcast for 8 hours, and holy shit, we are live, Adam. It worked.
For 8 hours. We're going to be doing this for 8 hours.
8 hours long, guys. We're doing a marathon of. Welcome to the Spinner Rack. Adam and I here talking comics. This is actually a hangout that I've been wanting to do for quite some time now. Just a casual comic book club, talking about the things we love, which are comics. And I'm not going to talk too much. I'm not going to do this big intro because I'm going to screw up. So I'm just going to get right to it. The topic for today's show is going to be top 5 comics from our youth. Top 5 back issues.
Yeah.
So, Adam, before we go into the top 5 back issues that we chose, I told you earlier on, I changed my selection. I was constantly changing my selection because I went after amazing stories and these fantastic issues that I still have in my collection, and I've probably exhausted it in most of my videos. So I was going through other books that kind of, brought back me to some places. I'm like, when I bought them and why I bought them, and the issues are gonna suck, but I just love the story. I love the story on when I purchased and how I got it. So I don't know if I cheated, but when I say top 5 back issues, trust me, guys, put those notepads and pens away. These are not speculator books. These are just, like I said, the 100% sexy spine rolled comics. Take it away, Dr. Monkeybot.
No, I went to exactly the same place because, for me, my top back issues are not money books. They're not hot books. Then they are price stamps cut out. They are spine ticks. They were characters here. You were like, who the hell is that? What have you got that for? But it's just the ones that I remember from when I was collecting. I used to go to the same comic marts I go to now. I've been going to since I was about 14. So I used to go to those, and the 50p boxes were very different when I started going when I was 14, because then Copper Age books, even Bronze Age books were in there, because that was the stuff that was 15 years old, whereas now 15 years old is early 2000s shit, which is what's filling up all of those long boxes. And I'll buy it. Don't get me wrong, you've all seen that, I'll buy it. So yeah, there's going to be some weird ones in here. First one I'm going to go for.
So we're going to take turns. We're going to go 1-1, then 2-2, 3-3.
Yeah.
All right.
Sounds good.
Let's do it. All right. Rock, paper, scissors. Adam, you go first.
So this one I picked because I was fixated on this character from really early on with collecting, and I had no idea why. It sort of stemmed from I like the military comics. I don't know why. I'm not no military in my family, no connection to the military. I don't know what it is. The G.I. Joe thing just got me from early on. And if there was ever any sort of military element to a book, it kind of drew me in. And then there was this one character, and the name and the design of the character. I mean, whenever I found it in short boxes, I was just drawn to it. I don't know what it was. And I ended up reading the series that came out at the time. But then I found this one in a 50p box, and it looked different. I didn't know why, but it's because it was the first Bronze Age book that I bought. And it's Astonishing Tales 28, third appearance of Deathlock. I just love that character, Deathlock. I love the design. I love the military background crossed with the sci-fi elements. It's all Rich Buckler written and art in here, and it was so different to anything that I'd read or bought up to that point. Just the way that the cover looked, the way that the character was designed, the way that the story was written. It was just so much more dialogue and so much more over-the-top action, and I just absolutely loved it. I loved the design of the logo with the crosshairs with the skull on it. It's everything about it. It just combined loads of stuff and just sort of opened my eyes to a different way of writing books that I didn't know about, because I've been reading all of the early 90s stuff, and to just get into that Bronze Age world. And it's like you say, these are super sexy. It's a Penn's copy. It's got the value stamp cut out of it. It's beat to hell, but I just love it because it's Rich Buckler's artwork in it. It's just, I'm gonna have to open up and have a look at a page, because he just does stuff with page layouts and design that is so different. And it does that thing which I love in Bronze Age, where you end up with chapters within the book, which you just don't get in modern books. And it was just things like this page here, where he does it's kind of it's almost like a 12-panel grid, but he's cuts off the corners. They're all slightly rounded, and then the last one he does this panel across the bottom with the gun thing. It's just amazing. I just loved it. And there's just something about him. He's like a zombie soldier, a zombie sci-fi soldier, and it just hit my 14-year-old brain as one of the coolest things in the world. And I was reading the book that came out at the time as well. There's the I can't remember the character's name is Michael something or other. That early 90s version of Deathlock. I'm reading that, and it just wasn't quite the same. I still like the character, but it just wasn't quite what Rich Buckler was doing. It's not a money book. It's not Deathlock's first appearance. It's not. It's just the first step into the Bronze Age for me. And it's.
Do you have his first appearance?
No, I don't. It's one I still need to get.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, no, I still need to pick it
up. That is his first appearance. Is that considered George Perez's first work at Marvel? I think.
That rings a bell. I think it might be.
I think they credit that. That's a pretty fantastic book to debut your talents at Marvel, Mr. Perez.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a weird one. But this is the thing I love about the Bronze Age.
I'm in love with that. I have that book, by the way. It's gorgeous. Nah, 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 nah. I'm joking.
Yeah, it's what I love about the Bronze Age. It's just weird and over the top.
Okay. I'll go, since you went bronze, I'm going to go with my, not really my introduction to bronze. Everyone knows my introduction to bronze came from a free shoebox of comics that featured a team that some of you might know, but I think me and Adam know so much, which are Uncanny X-Men. I'm not going to talk about those because everyone knows that whole backstory and everyone knows how much Adam and I love the X-Men. I'm going to go with the first comic book run that I completed. Nice. My first biggest comic book run that I completed. And it is the Peter Parker's Spectacular Spider-Man.
Nice.
These are my babies. I found, first of all, the story behind these books. I got them when I lived in Toronto. My parents used to go to this flea market north of Toronto, which is a town called Stouffville. We used to go there every Saturday, and there was lots of comics there. Comics, toys, and hockey cards. Those were my three passions, things I would collect at that age. And bought them all loose. Didn't know the titles, didn't know the difference between Amazing Spider-Man and Spectacular Spider-Man. To me, they were the same book. Yeah, and obviously it wasn't. This came out in 1979. I did not go in the 70s. I was born in '78. When I went to started going to Stouffville Flea Market, I was probably 9, 10 years old when I bought these. Yeah. I started collecting Spectacular Spider when I was 11. I started buying like large amounts of quantity because I kind of understood more the issue numbering and all that, the titles and volumes and stuff like that. I started educating myself in comic books. So yeah, I remember these were the two books the first two Peter Parker Spectacular Spider-Mans I ever bought with my own money. I think they were, I don't know. I remember paying $1 and leaving with a whole bunch of stuff. And what's interesting is read them. I used to trace a lot. I used to use tracing paper on top of my issues. By the way, these count as one issue. I'm just showing two because it's part of the arc that I'm gonna talk about soon. And yeah, so I used to trace. I used to, of course, read them. But I always wanted to draw. Like I'm horrible at drawing. I always wanted to draw, and I just complete shit at drawing. I love art. I love everything about it. But I remember this book, knowing who the Lizard was already, and being surprised, like, oh, cool. This actually book is not. Kirk Connors is in this issue. It's the debut of another villain called the Iguana. Who is?
Hey, that looks different to the Lizard.
Yeah, who is actually Kirk Connors' pet, or his one of his experiments, lab rats, lab reptiles that he was using to grow his arm. So I remember reading it and knowing the story, and then only when that movie, the Spider-Man movie came out. The one that featured emo
Oh
Spider-Man.
yeah, yeah.
And I remember watching it, and I'm like, what the fuck? It feels like I've seen this before, you know? Like little iguanas running around, little lizards, and you know, Kurt Connor's, you know, kind of like conflicted. You know, he's kind of like a good guy, but you know, whatever, bad guy. And I'm like, holy shit! It's from. I remember reading it in my, you know, Peter Parker issues. Like, the story is similar to that. Spectacular Spider-Man was actually used to focus more about Peter Parker in graduate school, like, you know, in college and stuff like that. College. Sorry, his senior year in high school. It was mostly about that. It introduced a lot of different characters, not the usual Mary Janes and Gwen Stacy, whatever. It was other people, not just Harry Osborn. It was other friends. That's what I liked about Peter Parker.
Okay.
And yeah, so he goes. It's the same similar thing. Goes to a school trip to the zoo, whatever, Dr. Connor's zoo, and yeah, there's like lizards running around. It's the same thing as the movie. I just couldn't believe it. I just remember watching the movie after, thinking about these two issues, the first two issues I ever bought, Peter Parker's Spectacular Spider-Man, which snowballed into a complete run of 264 books.
That is a big run, isn't it?
And you will never ever see that video of 264 issues. I can't do that, man.
667.
I can't do that. Yeah. You know me, I can't just show the number. I have to say something.
Yeah.
So it's like, I try to like limit myself when I show the book. I talk about the covers because I'm a fucking cover whore. Everyone knows I love covers. So I always focus on the cover, and sometimes I'll talk about the story if I've read it or if I know about it.
Nice,
but anyways, yeah, that's my bronze, my Spider-Man. I just wanted to throw. I never talk about my Spectacular Spider-Man run. I never showed it. That was just me introducing, but giving you guys, you know, how I collected Spectacular Spider-Man. Yeah. Adam, number 2. Was that good, by the way? Is that okay?
Yeah. No, I was just gonna say Spectacular. If I was to get into Spider-Man stuff, that's the way I'd definitely go, because it's so much more. It's big, but it's not amazing big, and it's not amazing expensive.
It's a high print run, and they're not really. There's no key issues really.
No, I'll be tempted to that. Okay, so from the first series you completed, I'm going to do the first series I completed. And this is going to be no surprise, and you'll know that one of these is going to have to be in there. But this is the last issue that I needed to complete this series for a good few years. And when I tracked it down, it was just issue 19 of G.I. Joe.
Oh my God, 19!
19 was the last one that I needed for a long, long time, and I just could not find it. And I was going back over it today because I've read all of the G.I. Joe stuff loads of times, and everyone knows that I love the G.I. Joe stuff, and it's what got me into comics, through the toys and the cartoons. And I couldn't.
Shower gels.
Yeah, shower gels, bath soaps. I could never figure out why 19 was the one that took me so long to find. And I was flicking back through it because I'd read them all, and I could never, because I read them all so long ago and reread them a little while after that. I can never remember what happens in each issue. I can kind of vaguely remember from the cover what roughly happened in there. But it was only when I had a flick through it again today, I just thought, oh, but that's probably why it was harder to get. Because in this issue, it's where Destro attacks the Joe's base, and General Flag dies, Quinn the Eskimo dies, Dr. Venom dies, and another character, I can't remember who. So it's kind of the first major deaths that happen in the series, and they're not huge characters because I don't even think any of them actually ended up being action figures, but they were big in that first 2 big arcs that they did. There was Quinn the Eskimo was a huge character for the start of this series. Him and Snake Eyes were kind of a partnership, and they were antagonists of each other, and then they ended up just respecting each other as warriors. And he ended up being kind of not a Joe, but with them all the time. And yeah, killed him off in this issue, killed off General Flag, and it's just, you get the first appearance of the Snake mobile battle armor, that Cobra battle armor that just looks like a fridge with legs. That appears in this for the first time. So that's, I've never put it together that it was probably a bit more tricky to find because stuff actually happens in it that's kind of, you don't get many character deaths in G.I. Joe. They carry on with those characters for whatever it is, 150, 160 issues, whatever it is, you don't really get any characters dying. But yeah, they killed 4 off in this one issue, and it's one that kind of just flicking back through it again, I was like, oh, that's why. And I'd never figured it out. But it took me years to track it down. And I ended up just digging through. I was boxes after boxes after boxes. Like, come on, 19, come on, 19. No, missing. But yeah, no, finally tracked it down a long time ago now. But it took me a while. So yeah, that was the first series I completed. G.I. Joe.
Nice.
Followed by a few.
Oh, sorry.
No, go.
Oh, yeah, you totally fired me up to start collecting G.I. Joe again in comic book forms. I had loose issues here and there, but now that I want to actively go after that run, I'm finding them hard to find, and the issues I do find, some other effer has jacked the price, so...
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Because it's like the Transformers stuff's really expensive.
I think it was the G.I. Joe movie. I think that made the books go up.
Yeah. But the movie was... It did really, really give a good interpretation of G.I. Joe, so I can see why that would really put the price.
The Rock did it. The Rock put the comic book on the map 30 years later.
Yeah. It's just I can't talk about G.I. Joe more than I already have, but it's one of my favourite runs. It was the first I completed. It's got so much nostalgia for me, but it's Larry Hama. Just
I got to meet the man last year in Niagara Falls.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah.
It was cool. Do you know what he said to me?
No.
Nothing. I gushed and gushed. I gushed and gushed. I was shaking. There was a tear. Even my sister was like saying, even my sister felt sorry for me, and she got involved. She goes, like, he loves you. You don't get it. He loves you. You know, it's like this was my sister was born. I kept on talking with G.I. Joe, G.I. Joe, you know, like. And he's like just smiling. I think it was high. Just get like a perma smile. But he was awesome. He was like, you know, he was just, you know, like nodding, whatever. Great. It was perfect. It was perfect. You know what? I think it was awesome and better that he didn't say anything. Because a lot of guys that I like so much, as soon as they open their mouth, it's like, oh, short, shriveled, hanging to the left. So I guess
that's a lovely image.
So it preserves that image of our childhood, you know, idol. Like, you know.
Yeah,
I mean, just saying. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
We've talked before about why we don't really do big con stuff. Like, we like little shows where you can buy loads of books. There's very few writers or artists that I'd actually want to meet, partly because I think it would just ruin it. I love what they've done, but I kind of don't want to know the mechanics behind it. I don't want to know the people behind it. There's something special about it being mine. It's just not.
Yeah. It's like looking behind the curtain, you know, just leave it as is.
I don't want to talk to Larry Harmon who's just like, no, I needed to pay the mortgage. Oh my God. Yeah. It's like when you hear all the stories about Kirby and stuff, and just churning those pages out for nothing, and it was just like, oh, but it's amazing.
Yeah. Going back to your issue 19, you brought something about, you brought up, you know, so many deaths in that issue. I obviously haven't read all the G.I. Joe comic books out there, especially those from the 80s, and those were running alongside the cartoon at the time, right? They were like parallel to each other, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I don't know if they started at exactly the same time. I think the comics started earlier because the comics bring in toy stuff. I think the cartoon started a little bit later, but not by much.
Okay. It's just in the show, obviously there weren't any deaths. Only one death comes to mind. Not really a death, but something close to a death, and that was in the movie when Duke got Pentor's snake to the heart. Yo, Joe! Oh man, I freaked out.
Yeah.
That's like the closest thing we got to a death. And it was like, you know, everyone's freaking out that time. Who shot JR? I'm like, who gives a fuck? I want to see part 2 of the, you know, G.I. Joe movie, because I didn't see it in the theater or whatever. I saw it on TV.
Yeah.
One day was part 1, and next week it was part 2. So it's like, who shot JR? It's like, fuck you, man. Just, I want to see if Duke lives or not, man. Like, who gives a shit about JR? Fuck Dallas.
Duke ends up surviving it, doesn't he?
Oh yeah.
They completely pushed out on it, and so. But do you know why that was? Because I was reading about this a while ago. Because originally they were going to kill him off, and that was it. He was done. But the reaction to Transformers the movie, where they killed Optimus Prime, was so hugely negative from parents. Who were just like, "What have you done to my child?" But they was like, "We can't do it. We can't kill off characters in these cartoons anymore." So they're just like, "There's another scene where he's all right in bed and he's fine. He's having a glass of water." It's just, he clearly died. He got a snake through the heart.
Yeah. Yo, Joe. And I think he coughed blood too when he fell.
Yeah.
And then Flint is freaking out. His brother, he's like, you know, feels responsible and shit, and gets sent to Sergeant Slaughter's the Marauders, whatever it's called. That's awesome. I love those guys. They're amazing. Like the Misfits. Oh gosh. Anyways, we'll say that for another hangout. G.I. Joe the movie. If I could find a way to watch it and do commentary with Adam at the same time, that'd be great, man.
That's amazing. I probably know most of it word for word. I watched it so many times as a kid.
Okay, that's a challenge. We're doing it.
There must be
you'll take parts 1, 2, and 3. I'll take the other parts. We'll just. Okay. That's it for your book. My book next.
No, that's number 2. You'll go.
Okay. I'm gonna go with my Punisher. Punisher from 1992. I talked about this in a video I did a year ago, 2 years ago, when I did the complete run video of Punisher. This is actually one of the first issues I bought and read, and I absolutely loved it. And the only reason why I bought it at the time, of course, was the Punisher. But there were some guys hanging around in this issue with Jason masks, and you guys know me. I love horror movies, and I just, everything about this book was awesome, because I was also a fan of MacGyver, and this issue basically reminds me of the show MacGyver, where MacGyver was at a grocery store and he was hiding from these terrorists or goons, whatever, and he got this aerosol, like aerosol cans, like air freshener cans, and he got some hair clips and he clipped the aerosol can and just let it, smell like cinnamon sticks or something like that, and the guys would turn around the corner and then he would throw a lighter, a big lighter, and it would explode. It was like an explosion. So this issue of Punisher was the same thing. Punisher goes there to do some groceries. I think he's looking for lobster, and some guys storm in the supermarket to rob it, and Punisher does this exactly like MacGyver, does all these little things, uses the house, goes to the household cleaners area, and builds bombs out of like Mr. Clean and bleach or whatever. It's amazing. It's a fun read. I was a huge Punisher fan. I've said it before, and we have 13 viewers. Sorry, guys, I can't. I've been trying to check comments. I don't know how to check comments on here, man. I need like Travis or someone on here to help me out with the comment ticker. I have no idea how to work it. But anyways, I loved Punisher. It was so taboo in school. We used to have him in our desk. We used to like draw the skulls on our desk in our books and stuff like that. So Punisher. I never give Punisher enough credit. I've always talked about Batman and stuff, but Punisher was a huge part of my childhood.
Yeah,
I just love him.
He's a great character. I was saying to you yesterday, I had a big Punisher poster on my wall as a kid, and I can't find the art online to show you the one because it was really cool.
Oh yeah. Everything's cool with Punisher.
Who have we got in the comments? We've got Gimpy's there, who's loving the Joe talk. CJ. Yeah, CJ's there. Matt Man says cereal. Who else we got? J-Rocks, John Riaz.
Thanks, guys, for watching. I don't know how to friggin' check the comments, man. I have no idea.
They're enjoying the G.I. Joe talk. Gimpy's enjoying the G.I. Joe talk.
It's Bat Chat all over again. I remember I used to invite people to come on just to just to screen the calls. I never got it. You know what? It was so awesome. They were so cool, and they were all like, "Yeah, sure, I'll do it." And but I ain't do it. I gotta figure something out. I gotta find a way to fix this. But anyways, so that was my book number 2. We're on to book number 3. Dr. Monkeybot, take it away, please.
Book number 3. I'm gonna drop some 90s rubbish in here.
Oh, what?
I've gone big with the Bronze Age and G.I. Joe, but now I'm going to drop in some crap that no one's going to care about.
No, I love it. This is interesting.
This one, I had absolutely no idea where I found it, but at some point when I was a kid, I managed to find a previews. It was not a current previews, it was just a previews that I found. And there were 2 things in there that jumped out at me that I thought, I need to know what that is. One was Grendel, because he looked so cool, and I still need to figure out what Grendel was all about. And the other one was this one, and this one kind of triggered me quite liking the character, but always thinking he was a little bit rubbish, but also spun off into other stuff. So it's the first mini-series in his own limited series at last, Night Thrasher for Control, issue number 1.
Oh my god. I'm shocked. No, that's in a good way.
I don't know what it was about Night Thrasher. I think it was just the outfit, the pole things he used, that he was just kind of urban vigilante. Having a read through it again before this video, it doesn't hold up particularly well.
Yeah. A lot of my books don't hold up either.
Yeah, it's not great. But he just looks so cool. And I ended up reading New Warriors stuff and then getting into Nova out of that, and it kind of spun off into other characters that were a bit more interesting than Night Thrasher. But I don't know what it is. It just is, for me, everyone's like, oh, the 90s is Liefeld, the 90s is Liefeld. This is 90s for me. This is it's those
nice
dark urban street fighters in armor, and it's that kind of, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is about it, because they're kind of, it's like the armor that they put Daredevil in around the same time. It's meant to look sleek, but it's a suit of armor. It's not really gonna, I don't know. And it's the mask. That's what it is. I know what it is. It's the fact you can't see his mouth. I've got a weird thing with characters. I think no matter what the rest of them looks like, if you can't see their mouth, they look cool.
I noticed that. You are obsessed with your head and eyes like that.
I don't know what it is. You can see the eyes, but you can't see the mouth. It's why when they made Optimus Prime have a mouth in the movie, he looked like absolute shit. Because
that's so true.
Wobbly lips. No, it's just a piece of metal moving up and down. That makes you.
It's. I think that's the reason why we love ninjas so much.
Yeah, exactly. You can see the eyes, no mouth. Don't know what's going on. He could have a terrible mustache under there, and you'd never know. It's fine.
Never Night Thrasher. That's interesting.
Night Thrasher, first miniseries, Full Control, and I then went on and got the main series. And
whoa! There was a main series.
Yeah, he had a miniseries, and then he ended up having a series that ran for about 30 odd issues, maybe a bit less than that. Yeah, he was a big deal. For a Night Thrasher series. Everyone was reading that New Warriors book going, I want to know more about Night Thrasher. So that's, like a lead weight there is my third book. Just completely derailing the conversation. I've got good stuff to finish, don't worry. I just have to I didn't want to finish on Night Thrasher. Have you ever read any Night Thrasher?
No, but I see them around.
Yeah. You don't need to buy them.
I know nothing about that guy.
He's kind of partway between Daredevil and Batman, but with a dark urban edge. There's a lot of stuff like the villain in here is a character called Bengal, and he talks with a awful Jamaican accent all the way through it, and it's just really like, oh. No.
I'm not a fan of that. I'm not a fan of when I read comics, even today, especially today, when they're trying to write in the accent when you're reading. I can't stand it. I especially a good example is Harley Quinn's New Jersey or New York accent. Oh God, I fucking skip those parts. I can't stand it. I hate it. I hate reading accents.
Yeah,
Just
Bengal is almost like Chris Claremont accent. So when you get like the way that Gambit talks or the way that Banshee talks, it's that level. It's like, oh no, that's not how anyone from Jamaica's ever spoken. Yeah.
look up on the tree, man.
Yeah, he's basically like the villains from Predator 2, but in a Bengal suit.
I am Night Thrasher. This is a travesty. All right.
Yeah, basically everyone talks like they're in Cool Runnings. It's terrible.
Okay, I'm gonna go with a book that I purchased. It was around. Let me look at the date. I don't know when it was around. I want to say Victoria Day. We celebrate Victoria Day here in Canada in May. But for some reason, I have Victoria Day in my mind. That weekend, I went to the convenience store to steal some firecrackers, and I ended up buying some comic books. See, I purchased for the comic books. I stole the fireworks.
Yeah.
And I had Iron Man comics kicking around. Never read them, but I had them because they were just given to me. But I pulled this off the shelf. Iron Man number 258. Those look like Kirby hands now. Well, I realized this in my adulthood looks like Kirby hands. But I just want to clear up some stuff here. I know I diss John Romita Jr. a lot when I did the Daredevil haul. But I've said it before, which predates my Daredevil hauls. I've said it to Scott Custom Bromstar. I want to say 3 years ago when he purchased an artist edition of John Romita Jr. and it was Iron Man stuff. And I told Scott that John Romita Jr. did a badass Iron Man. That is my Iron Man from my generation. Is John Romita Jr.'s Iron Man. I never say this because I despise most of his shit. And if you guys read or look at Iron Man's John Romita Jr.'s Iron Man stuff, it's really good. He suits Iron Man. He's very good at doing Iron Man. Well, I guess back then he didn't really, I don't know, put in his
Iron Man.
What's that?
I think it makes sense that John Romita on Iron Man works though, because the thing I don't like because I'm not a fan either, is all of his characters are quite boxy and square and their facial features are. But with Iron Man that works because he can be boxy and cubes and square.
I know.
But when it's meant to be a human being, that's not looking great.
That's not too shabby.
No, that looks good.
For me, it was awesome. I remember drawing this like crazy. And the panels were great too. You know, picking up Iron Man, throwing him through the walls. That was wicked stuff. So this issue is cool. It was just basically, it's actually the beginning, the first part of Armor Wars Part 2. I did not continue up. Instead, I love this issue so much that I went backwards because I was starting to get into those editor's notes. Hey, check out issue 214 or check out issue 176. And I was like, ooh, you know what? I was into that. I was starting to get into that part of collecting, of going back. And that's what Iron Man did to me. Started to go back, collecting back issues, reading arcs, stuff like that. And I really like Iron Man. I actually really, I don't read anything modern right now. I did try the Marvel Now stuff when it first came out. I wasn't really a fan of that run. I forgot who was doing it. I forgot who did that run. I can't remember. But yeah, I don't know. Iron Man's like a classic for me. It's like I love his classic stuff. I'm a huge fan of Tony Stark. I love it. I love Tony Stark. I love his personality and you know, his swagger, his cockiness, his genius. You know, he's cool. He doesn't bother. I just like him. I think he's great. And Iron Man, Armor Wars number 2 is actually the book that kicked off my Iron Man collection, and I started going backwards because I remember seeing. It's one of those where, you know, I go to the flea market as a kid and stuff, and I see Iron Man comics, never paid attention, and only until after, you know how I guess today people watch comic book movies or shows, and as soon as they turn off that show or movie, they go, I'm going to start collecting fill in the blank, whatever it is. That's what this did to me. This made me go back and say, I'm going to buy all those Iron Mans that are at the flea market, Mom. Now give me my allowance, you son of a bitch. But yeah, so that's why I love Iron Man. He's a big part of my childhood.
Nice.
And if I knock John Romita Jr., whatever, guys, it's just the Daredevil stuff. But his Iron Man stuff is gold. If you don't believe me, ask Colson Bromstar. I had a conversation with him 3 years ago about his arts edition. He'll tell you the truth.
Nice.
That's it for me. Plowing through this. How long have we been on? Not bad. Half an hour. We're going to try to... We're doing good.
Yeah. Okay. Beer's kicking in. Okay. I had to get one in somewhere. So I'm just going to show it.
You weren't ready.
Uncanny 279.
Ooh!
This was my first issue of Uncanny X-Men.
No, so, this is what I want to see. I want to see your first X-Men. Nice.
So I've been picking up the adjectiveless X-Men, the Jim Lee stuff. I've been buying that because I found that all over the place at these comic marts, buying them cheap. So I knew what was going on with that. And then I found this one in a newsagent, just like a local newsagent to me, just on the shelf. And I was like, oh, that's X-Men. I kind of know about X-Men. And it just completely blew my mind how different it was to what was going on in the Jim Lee X-Men stuff. It was just so much more complicated and difficult, and it was part of the Muir Island saga, and you're just coming in the middle of nowhere. Because of the way that they split the teams, I'd not seen half of these characters, because Colossus barely pops up in the Jim Lee run at all. So this was kind of my first introduction to Colossus as well, and it was I just completely fell in love with Colossus. I thought he looked amazing. So in this issue, it's Andy Kubert. There's a guest artist on this one, and Colossus is possessed by the Shadow King. So he's trying to kill Charles Xavier on Muir Island. So I didn't know if this guy was a good guy or a bad guy, because they were talking about him like he was one of their friends. But at the same time, he's just always trying to kill Charles Xavier, and he looks like he's always on fire. There's something about when he's possessed by Shadow King, it looks like he's surrounded by flames all the time. So he's not just that plain cold silver. He's got this kind of that orangey glow and flames around him the whole time, and he just looked amazing. And Andy Kubert's artwork was just, I don't know, there's something about it. He just does that sort of, everything's quite smooth, but there's lots of these little angular notes that come out of it that just make it feel really, I don't know, dangerous and alive. It's just, I absolutely loved it. And it was the first book that I picked up, and I was just like, I need to get more of that series, because it felt like the grown-up version of what was going on in the Jim Lee X-Men stuff. Jim Lee's X-Men stuff was fun, and I knew what the characters were, and it was kind of a little bit more of the soap opera stuff seemed to go on there, with like the Jean Grey and Scott Summers wedding stuff, and all that was happening over there. Whereas this, it just was like, it didn't pull any punches at all. It was just, you're in. And if you didn't know what was going on, then you better find out, because we're not going to make it easy for you. You need to know who these characters are. It's what Uncanny X-Men is for me. It's the more difficult version of the X-Men, because you kind of need to be in it. And because I love that. I know lots of people and like lots of jumping on points in comics, and like things this is a new story, aren't you? And it's fine. I get how it all works, but as a kid, I love the idea, like you were saying with the editor's notes, that there is a whole world out there, and I just put my toe into it, and I want all of it. I just want to know what I want to know, all of it. I want to know what connects to what, who this is, where he comes from, why he's there, and it's just, it completely lit a fire with me for the X-Men stuff, and took it to a completely different level from what I'd had with the Jim Lee stuff. I loved that Jim Lee run, and it was so of its time. And reading that, and then I've been reading the New Mutant stuff, and that's obviously very different to this Uncanny stuff as well. And then you get into the X-Force stuff, and that's very different to this. This just kind of feels like it's classic. It's not trying to do something different. It's not trying to do something new. It's just classic X-Men. And
I was just gonna say this right now. I would read those issues of X-Men that I got, old bronze, and I couldn't find X-Men. I never saw X-Men on the shelf. Do you know when I was buying Wolverine off that some pharmacy that was located in the mall? I was actually buying classic X-Men. And I loved the classic X-Men stories. I'm like, oh my god, these are awesome. I had no idea that they were reprints, reprinted stories. But it's a collection that it was one of the part of those collections that I gave away and stuff like that, like when I was doing the pharmacy thing. But it's like one that I want to get back, because every time I think of an issue or something that happened in X-Men, I always think of classic X-Men. Like I never go to the exact issue in, you know, the main title continuity. I always screw up and think of classic X-Men. I remember the title. I mean, the cover of that story. I know it's screwed up.
No. It was a good. I liked the covers and stuff on that series. I think it was.
I regret. I forget. Yeah, Arthur Adams did the cover. Most of the covers.
Yeah.
I forgot to pull one of my Wolverine stories, but I'll save that for another. I'll save that for another show. We'll probably talk about Wolverine, because I don't know. I just got my. You obviously have something to do with it, but I got my Wolverine love back and respect and everything. Just I know he was used as, like, you know, Marvel's go-to guy for, like, you know, everything's Wolverine. You know, pump Wolverine stuff. But man,
when you get back to classic stuff,
he's got good stuff, man. He's got good stories, and he's a great character, man.
Yeah, no, he is, and I know he was he went through that phase of being the Deadpool of the '90s, when it was just like you say, if you wanted a character's name to face to put on a pizza box, it was Wolverine. But
yeah,
you go back to those original series, like the original mini-series, or the 30 or 40 issues of that main run, and they're amazing stuff.
I'm obsessed with the arc now, from when he lost his adamantium, whatever, skeleton, and the trial of when he discovered he had bone claws. I'm so into that right now. That's all I'm doing, is reading that stuff and collecting that stuff. And then it goes to, I think it was issue 100, he gets his adamantium back.
Yeah.
I'm like, so this is stuff I don't tweet a lot about or whatever. This is stuff I do in my own little corner at home. I'm like so into that. And that's when I told you I was buying some Wolverine stuff, and I came across some Death X. It was Apocalypse Death. Yeah, I'm picking up little stories like that. Of course to collect, but mainly to read. Just love it.
Yeah.
I still haven't read my comics from last week. I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm going back to my back issues, and I just love reading my back issues, man. I don't know. I'm changing.
I'm the same. I've not read last week's comics, but I've been looking through these back issues quite a lot. But I was reading the first Wolverine miniseries. I was rereading that the other day, and just Frank Miller's artwork on that book is unbelievably good.
I know.
He was doing such good stuff at that point. I think I feel a iffy about some of Frank Miller's latest stuff, but his methods was just what he was doing in Daredevil and what he did in that Punisher miniseries was just.
I know. What the F happened to that guy?
Yeah.
We should do a show. What the F happened to Frank Miller?
That's going to be a long show.
We'll have before and after visual aids. You know, it's like, what the F happened? Like,
you hold out that a page of that first issue of that first Wolverine miniseries, and then I'll hold up a page of Holy Terror. It's like, this is the same artist.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know. It hurts me because he's, like I've said before, He's a big deal
Mm.
when I was growing up. You know, he was a guy that if you know, if I got involved in the community sooner and I took part in contests and you know, things like that,
Mm-hmm.
and they would say, "Hey, who's your favorite comic book artist and writer of all time?" I would have said, "Hey, Frank Miller." Frank Miller, I love Frank Miller. But you know, you say Frank Miller, people, you know, draw their guns on you. What the fuck did you just say? You know, they go all Liefeld on me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't help it. He's responsible for a lot of my favorite stuff.
Yeah. His early stuff was breathtakingly good.
You know,
You can't. It's one of those things you can't take away from the early stuff just because the later stuff was a pile of shit. It's the guy goes a little bit crazy. He doesn't do his best stuff. It's just how it goes.
exactly. It's not like I'm defending his latest stuff or the shit he says or. It's, I'm the first to say that guy went full retard. You know,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
But his old stuff, I'm sorry, man.
Yeah.
Can't touch it.
Just go back and look at that first Wolverine miniseries. There's.
Yeah.
I remember when I was rereading it, I was just tweeting panels just because they were just so gorgeous. Yeah. He's made
Okay, Adam. You're on book number 4?
That was my book. What's yours? That was my fourth one. You're up next.
I'm up next?
Yeah. X-Men was mine.
Oh,
And then we went off on a Wolverine rant.
So I'm number 4? Okay.
Have you done your fourth one?
House of Mystery.
Oh, nice.
Issue number 256.
Very
The Halloween cover. It's the only reason why I got it, man. I'm a child of Halloween. I was born October 1st. Kicks off the month of the devil. Same thing. Love Halloween. Love horror. Everything about horror. Media, movies, comics. I just, you know, surrounded myself with all that stuff. My parents thought there was something wrong with me. No, they didn't. They could care less. I was raised with, like, my parents didn't give a shit. Come on, man. 7, 8 years old with a video card, like to a video store. That's pretty rad. So, loved the horror comics. Didn't know. Obviously, I didn't buy it because of Bernie Wrightson when I was a kid. I just see a pumpkin, sold. I'm getting it. I was trying to find another issue, but I can't recall which issue it is. It was actually one of the first horror books I ever read. I don't know if it was Secrets or Mystery, but it involved a group of hippies that kind of remind me of a Scooby-Doo, the Scooby-Doo gang. They go to his graveyard and they start, you know, digging up graves and stuff, and the security guard shows up and says, "Hey kids, get out of here!" And you know, they're like, "Yeah, screw you." So they go into the mausoleum to have sex, and then they're like, "Oh, look at this. This is like, you know, this guy's probably rich. He's probably full of, you know, rings, and he's probably buried with like all this gold and stuff." And they open the casket, and it's the old man security guard. You know, I loved stuff like that. It was so cool. It was awesome. He was a ghost. You guys didn't get it, but yeah.
Oh,
but so like that's why I was like so drawn to stuff like this, to the House of Mystery, House of Secrets series. This book is actually the first time I called out a movie before calling out a movie was even cool. There's a story in here. I forgot the name, but this is the issue where there's a story in here that featured Zombie Dust. If you guys don't know what Zombie Dust is, I just know it by Zombie Dust. If you guys remember a movie by Wes Craven called The Serpent and the Rainbow, I was a huge Wes Craven fan when I was a kid, still am today. Love that man. And yeah, I was following everything he did. He did Nightmare on Elm Street, and he did Serpent and the Rainbow, which is about that Zombie Dust stuff. Remember, guys, in the zombie, like, you know, it started Brian Pullman from Spaceballs. He went to Haiti, and he was looking into the zombie stuff, which was like this poison that you ingest, and it would like stimulate paralysis, and your heart would slow down and not beat. And people think you're dead, and they would bury you. And then when that stuff would wear off, there would be a caretaker that would dig you up. So it's like you're a zombie, but you're not really a zombie.
Yeah.
There's a story in here that's exactly like that, and this is from 1979. 1979? No, 78. This is actually my birthday comic. I think. No, it's 79. I don't know. But there's a story in here that's exactly like that, and it predates The Serpent and the Rainbow. So I remember watching The Serpent and the Rainbow, and it's like, holy shit, again. It's like, motherfuckers took it out of House of Mystery. No, that's not what I said. But I just love everything about these beauties. I know I try to chase, still to this day, I try to chase horror comics. I try to relive that glory of, you know, the olden days. I know I love Rachel Rising, but nothing compares to the feeling and everything about the Bronze Age of horror. Just like you are with your war comics, Adam. I'm like that with my Bronze Age horror comics. It's like, I love them, and I want to collect everything now. Mystery, secrets, like Unexpected, Chamber of Chills, Secrets of Sinister House, all that stuff. Everything's good. Everything horror's good. Even the Charltons are great. I even have some of those. But yeah, so that's the story about this book. Just one of my first horror comics ever read and bought. Beautiful.
Very nice. Yeah,
oh, by the way, this is Bernie Wrightson only did 27 covers for House of Mystery. This is his last cover he ever did. He did not do the interiors. The interiors are done by, I want to say, Alex Nino. I think that's his name. I'm not sure. Don't ask me how I know that. I just know. I don't know. I just shit, man. I don't know. I know these stupid things. They stick.
Yeah, you've made me want to get into that stuff a lot more.
Oh, it's great. It's great.
The covers are just incredible. Yeah. Okay. Should I do my last one?
Cool. We are.
Okay.
We'll try to keep this an hour, then we'll go off air.
Yeah. Cool.
Because I'm sorry, I'm not even talking to anyone in the comments, guys. I told you I don't know what's going on with the comments.
Yeah, I'm not looking very much.
It's broken.
I think there's a few guys there. Who we got? Cammy's there. Who else is there? Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone.
We went from like 17 viewers to 8, and that was crazy.
It's because I started talking about Night Thrasher.
Okay, Adam. Last book for you.
Last one. So this one I picked because it was the first book I remember having to look on the wall for and trying to fill a run in and finding that book that was just like, that's it, and paying like not much more than I would normally have paid, but enough more that I was in my small brain was just like, oh, it's a big one. And it's good we were just talking about a certain character. Marvel Comics Presents issue 72.
Beautiful. Oh, so good.
First part of the Weapon X storyline. It's the
awesome
prelude issue. Barry Windsor Smith cover and interiors. It's only a small part of this. There's 3 other backup stories: Daredevil, Sheena, and Red Wolf. But the 5 or 6 pages of Barry Windsor Smith stuff are unbelievable. I mean, Barry Windsor Smith he's a weird one because he's one of those artists that very rarely seems to get mentioned. I don't know why.
That's true.
He never pops up in those who are the favourite artist things, but he's an incredible artist. And I remember there's the issue of Uncanny that he did with Wolverine, where it's all the purples and he's lying down and he's got all the shoot. And
I love that. Yeah. With like the purplish cover, I think.
Sorry.
Is it like kind of purplish, the cover?
Yeah, it's all purples, yeah. So I remember this comes from toys for me, the recognition of this one, because I remember having the Toy Biz Weapon X Wolverine with the helmet, the visor on, all the tubes and stuff coming out of him. And then I saw this and was like, no, I want to get that. I know the toy. And we talk about references in the films. I mean, everything they did with Wolverine in the X-Men films is just from this mini-series, from this mini run in Marvel Comics Presents. But it was one of those ones that I picked it up off the wall, was excited that I got a wall book, and then opened it, and just the art blew my mind, because it was, even in the context of this one issue, it's so different to everything that was going on. I'm getting it out. You get stuff like, actually, some of the stuff's not too bad either. There's a Daredevil story in there that's quite good, but there's a Sheena story which is the art's not great. It's alright. He's just stripping off in the jungle. Then you get into the Barry Windsor Smith stuff. It's just like there's just so much going on that page. It's just the composition, the colours. He's just got this scratchy dark line that he does, which is quite fine, but he really heavily inked. He's incredible. I think he's absolutely amazing. And it's just like stuff like this. The first two panels of this. So this is the prelude to the Weapon X story, right? And that's the first two panels. And it's just the guy that runs the Weapon X program. He's looking at the word experiment, but the way he holds his glasses means that it magnifies the letters X and the word men.
Nice. That is awesome.
But it's incredible. And then the first words are just Logan just thinking storm's coming. This is Wolverine.
I know.
The thing I really like about Wolverine in this run, and it's the stuff that I like about what they're doing with him in the Old Man Logan at the minute, is it feels like that Clint Eastwood voice kind of thing going on. He's old and he's tired and he's remembering the stuff that happened to him when he was younger and out of his control. And it's just, it really gets into the core of Wolverine for me. And it's, at the time, it felt very, I don't know, very difficult. Like, you see him in X-Men, the Jim Lee X-Men stuff. Again, just using that as my reference for the time. The way he's in the Jim Lee X-Men stuff. He's kind of a bit of an arsehole. He's a little bit moody with everyone, but you don't really know what's going on with him particularly. He's the first one to get into a fight. He's putting cigars out on his tongue. He's doing all this stuff, and you're like, this guy is just mental. What's he doing? And then you read this, and it just makes him a human. It gives you some sort of idea about what made him this. Who becomes that sort of living weapon thing? How does that happen? And it's Barry Windsor Smith doing the writing and the art. He just in, I think it's 16 issues. I think it runs for in small sections all the way through, and it's all worth getting because there's no point in it where Barry Windsor Smith slacks on the story or the art. It just, if you want to know about Wolverine, you read this and you read the Frank Miller miniseries, and that gives you Wolverine.
Yeah.
Everything in there you can figure out. It all spans out of that stuff. That's Wolverine, and that's why the films come back to those two stories. That's why you've got the Wolverine story where he's in Japan, and that's why in the first X-Men stuff you've got all of the Weapon X program stuff, because that's what the character is, and that's what's interesting about him. All the other stuff all comes after. That's all.
Yeah.
Lesser artists and lesser writers coming in and putting other stuff in there. This is kind of that core of what Wolverine's all about, and yeah, he ended up being the face of Pizza Hut, whatever the hell he was, but he's an amazing character. It just gets lost because there's so much. So yeah, that's my number 5.
Beautiful. That's
can't go wrong.
Yeah, I had issues with my 5th comic. Obviously, there's like tons of books that could have been in this top 5. I just went with more. I guess basically the books I picked today were just like, you know, kind of like an introduction, just saying, just giving some people some insight on how I collected certain characters that some people know or that I already like. Like, I rarely talk about my origins with Batman because it's actually pretty complicated. I was not a Batman main title guy. Never collected the main title Batman stuff when I was a kid. Never had any. The ones I read or looked at belonged to my friends. And that was actually the Death in the Family, the Jason Todd, the killing whatever, when he died. That was all over my school. That was going around like a joint. You know, everyone's like free. You know, it was a big deal. That's why it's hard for me when I hear people say comic books are for nerds and school, and you weren't allowed to like comic books in school. Not where I grew up. Comic books were always cool. You know,
Mm-hmm.
no one looked down upon people who fucking read comic books. That's why I just never. I don't know. Maybe I just can't really relate to
Yeah.
people. But whatever. Hey, whatever happened to you guys, whatever. I totally understand. But anyway, that's I'm drifting. But so, anyways, my origins with Batman started
Yeah.
with Death in the Family, Killing Joke, stuff like that. I would actually buy Legends of the Dark Knight and Shadow of the Bat. Those were my books that I would pick off the shelf and read. I had a huge collection of Legends of the Dark Knight, Batman, Shadow of the Bat. The reason why I'm going to talk about Shadow of the Bat is because when I was preparing myself for this hangout with Adam, I was like, damn, I got like, you know, it's those books that I got rid of when I got married, and I was trying to like get rid of shit because I honestly didn't care. I honestly didn't care, and I only wanted to keep one Batman title in my collection. I kept my Batmans. I got rid of everything else, and now I'm buying everything back, which is fun. I like it. I don't mind at all. And so that's why I went out and I did a Shadow of the Bat haul because of this mother I picked up, which was $39. This is the original that I bought in 1994, 95. This is the original. I kept this one because it was in the best shape. It wasn't bagged and board.
Mm-hmm.
The other ones that weren't bagged and board in shitty shape, I got rid of. They went out. But yeah, nothing really interesting about this issue. I'm just holding up this book because I'm just telling you guys my basic origins on collecting Batman and what I liked about Shadow of the Bat. Shadow of the Bat is basically the title that focused on the rogues, on the villains. That's it. Just went into there were just one-off stories. It actually started off with an arc. There is some arcs. There's an arc in here. Not Going Sane. Is it Going Sane? The Joker one? Maybe it is. I don't know. Or if that's Legend of the Dark Knight. I'm not sure. But anyways, yeah, they're just focusing on the rogues, and Batman's obviously in it. But this one's about Solomon Grundy. It talks about a little bit of his origins and stuff, but it's not important what the issue is about. It's I loved these stories. These are the stories I love the most. I love these Shadow of the Bat stories. I never ever have been a fan of detective comic books. Read them at a young age too. I would pick them up as well because they were cool Robin covers. I loved Robin as well. I still do, and I loved those covers. And I never got into detective. I just found it too boring for me to read. And everyone says, "Oh, well, of course, detective is more, detective Batman style. Not a lot of action." But I never was into that sort of shit, you know.
Yeah.
So I've never been a fan of detective. But Shadow of the Bat was a collection I loved collecting. I love Legends of the Dark Knight, and I'm proud to say that I'm getting them all back now.
Yeah.
I love it, and I'm basically pimping out my next Bat Chat video, right? Because I did a big Shadow of the Bat haul. It's so cool. Do you know I went in there? I went into the shop, because I had so many of these, and I would read them a lot. I'm actually impressed with myself that I knew what I had. I knew exactly what I had, 10 years ago or longer. And I was picking them up, and I was like, nope. I still kept these. I got rid of these. Still kept these. It was actually impressive. I wish I recorded myself. And I got home, plopped them down on my desk, looked at my tome, and looked at my box. I did not have a tome. Looked at my box, and boom, nailed it. I was like, damn, why can't people see me doing this? This is actually cool. I got them perfect. I skipped like one issue, got 5 after, skipped 1, 5 after. Oh, it was awesome. Yeah, it's just to show that how much I loved the Shadow of the Bat, and I love the covers, everything. Yeah. Oh, you ever see these covers? They're good. Brayfogle, I'm a huge fan of Brayfogle. Norm? Is it Norm Brayfogle?
Yeah,
I think he does Nocturnals.
Yeah.
The pink covers. Oh, yeah. That guy's
good.
great. Love that guy. Almost talked about my Kiss comics. I love the Kiss comics growing up. This is like still original, no bag and board. Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff I could have showed and talked. But you know what? You got to pick 5, and I went with these 5, and I don't regret. I'm cool with it.
No, I'm happy with my 5. There was lots more I
love
could
your 5. Yeah. Your 5 was awesome.
Your
5 was awesome. My 5 was awesome. High five. All right, that's a good way to end. We went almost 1 hour, man. We nailed it.
Very nice. And there's still lots more we can talk about. We could get more comics and talk about more.
Let's say we keep this 1 hour, turn it off, and I'll go upstairs, grab a beer, and we'll still chat a little bit after.
Yeah. I have more beer and no one to tell me to go to bed. So that sounds good.
You have no beer?
I've got more beer and no one to tell me to go to bed. So that is good.
I wish. I don't think I have too many left. All right, guys. So me and Adam are going to call it a night. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is just an experiment, just a trial. If any of you guys are interested or want to suggest some topic videos for another spinner rack, I got to try this out. Because the Bat Chat was all cool and fun, but kind of get a little sick of talking Batman. I know I'm saying that, but I kind of like talking about other stuff I like. So if you guys want to do this again one time, Adam, whenever you're ready, you just let me know, baby. We'll come up with another topic. We can just talk G.I. Joe or talk whatever you want.
Oh, G.I. Joe. Yeah.
But thank you, my friend Adam. You're the best. Thanks for doing this for me. I couldn't have done this without you. And this was perfect time.
It was amazing that we managed to make it work and find a time to do it. Because I've been wanting to sit down and talk to you about stuff, any stuff for a long time. So
and as soon as we turn this off, we're going to be talking about toys, because I know no one cares about toys, just me and you.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right, thanks so much, guys, for watching. Thank you for the 17. We had 19 people at one time. I can't check the comments. YouTube sent me an email, said you're not allowed to check comments. I don't know why. They just said, hey, John, you're not allowed to check comments. I'm shitting you, and see you later, guys. Thanks for coming out.